All right. Welcome again to another thrilling episode of Under the Dome. The title of this episode is Look What the Cat Dragged In. So we're going to play a little Ted Nugent for you right now. Little cat scratch fever. Then we'll play a little, if you ever heard the Ted Nugent live album. If you ever heard the Ted Nugent live album, we're going to play a little love song later on called Wang Dang Sweet. We'll go into that another time. You like that, huh? You know what song I'm talking about. Um, anyway, how you doing tonight, Sean? I'm by the way, I'm your host, Alan Ulrich. How you doing tonight, Sean?
Do you realize you haven't been on the air yet for a full minute, and already the thoughts going through my mind? Boy, that digress real quick.
Yeah.
I'm doing great. Welcome to another wonderful week of God. I can't wait. We want to thank Fan First Productions, our sponsors, who in their infinite wisdom saw something in us that we are bringing to you. Also, we want to thank everyone for their support, and I'm really proud to announce that our Facebook page, I noticed yesterday, we are now up to 1.1K. Thank you guys so much. You keep adding them, I'll keep approving them, and we'll keep rocking together on that. But also noticed on our YouTube channel, we are at 96 subscribers. It's awesome, man. I love that. Um, as always, we thank all of our followers. Um, we want to thank John Pinto and Joel Smith for all the work they do for us, with us, everything that they do to try to promote what we're doing here. We take a lot of pride in the fact that we are a Saints-based podcast. Fan-based podcast. We try to stand in the gap between the fans and the football team. We try to be very knowledgeable. We try to be very accurate in what we do. And we try to bring you guys, the fans, the latest information, and all that. But we understand the first we have to be as entertaining. Uh, and I'm going to try to segue that into our guest.
Yeah, we try and be entertaining, but in lieu of that, here's Bob. Hi, Bob.
Wow.
Well, hey, it's better than the intro that he got. Magnificent Seven and Bob.
Yeah, there you go.
Any fan of our show, this guy needs absolutely no introduction whatsoever. As I say a lot with a certain few of our guests, this is one of my guys. I like to think that I discovered him sometimes, but Street Chronicles, and I'm very blessed to be a friend, and I'm very proud of how far he's come and how very, very good he is at what he does. You guys make him welcome tonight. This is Bob Rose. How are you, Bob?
I'm good, Sean. I'm good, Alan. Thank you both for having me. Yeah, you're running out of nice things to say about me, though. So when you said no introduction is needed, you're gonna mean that after a while. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. You both look great.
It's the lighting, believe me.
Actually, I'm kind of like I was gonna say a hologram, and right before it came, it formulated into Holocaust, so I stopped that process. Have you ever sitting here talking and you hear brake screeching and see the flash cloud and realize that was your comment you were about to. Oh,
You all right?
well, opinions vary. Let's get this train back on course. So, Bob, uh, over this past weekend, we had a rookie tryout slash mini camp. La di da. Um, about the only thing positive that you're going to see, especially this early on in the process, is A, you had no significant injuries to speak of, and B, you start the process of sort of molding, sculpting what will become your roster. You in terms of uh, the um, the additions, subtractions, so on and so forth to our roster. What have you got from that coming out of this mini camp?
Um, basically, there, like you said, there's not a big, there's not a lot of big names that come and go out of these things. It's teams use this as an opportunity to get a look at their new rookies. Be it the draft choices, the undrafted free agents, or the futures contracts that they sign players to immediately after the season ended. A couple of names of interest, at least that caught my eye, that the Saints released coming out of the weekend. Uh, they released Anthony Gator, a cornerback that they had signed right after the season. I thought that he had a real shot to make the roster as maybe a number 5 or a number 6 cornerback. So that kind of surprised me a little bit. Shiloh Ko, he's bounced around the league as a safety, real good special teams player. But I think this team is going to be pretty deep at safety. So I guess at a closer look, that wasn't too surprising. I had to laugh. You and I were texting a little bit yesterday, Sean. At the Canal Street Chronicles, we were doing some undrafted free agent player profiles, and one of the ones that we did that we released yesterday morning was Ahmad Fulwood, a receiver out of Florida. Well, lo and behold, 5 hours after we released it, the poor guy was cut from the Saints. But we certainly wish him good luck. I'm afraid to say any more names after that little jinx. Um, a couple interesting names that they did. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I won't tell everybody what the phrase was that you texted me.
What'd you say?
I'm not going to divulge to our audience those 4-letter words that you texted me when you did that.
Yeah. We're trying to keep this a PG show. I'm more interested in a couple of the names that they did sign, though. They brought in a tight end, Clay Harbor. He has a few years in the league. He's actually played some decent ball for Philadelphia and I believe Jacksonville too.
Yeah.
They brought in a running back. He's a rookie, undrafted free agent, Trey Edmonds. He had a heck of a year as a freshman at Virginia Tech, and then just kind of fell off the map. His dad, you guys probably both remember Pharaoh Edmonds, very good tight end in the league for a number of years. That's his dad. So I'm interested to see what he's going to look like in camp. And then a guy, the three of us were talking about, and kind of all over, the signing was all over Twitter. They brought in a former quarterback from Georgia Tech, Justin Thomas. Not to be a quarterback, mind you. They brought him in purely for his athletic ability. And like you had said, we were texting back and forth, and that was one of the names that had come up too.
Well, let me ask you this. You keep referring to our conversation up there, and I want to build on that a little bit. At Georgia Tech, Thomas was a quarterback, as you mentioned, and according to a tweet by Nick Uphill this afternoon, he is listed on not the depth chart, but the roster. He's listed as a cornerback. But you seem to assert that as we get further into this, we very well could see a sort of a throwback to for guys like Allen that are closet Pittsburgh Steeler fans, so to speak. Bit of a throwback to a Slash kind of player. Is that correct?
As far as the way I think he could be used, I absolutely can see them using him that way. Justin Thomas can fly. He posted a 4.340 on his. I don't. Yeah, it was on his pro day, but he had posted a number of 4.3s or 4.3 sub 4.4s in a number of different workouts. They don't throw the forward pass at Georgia Tech. They haven't in like a decade. So don't look at the guys.
They still run the triple option out there, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, to look at Thomas's statistics as a quarterback, that you can pay zero attention to that. Number one, like we said, he's not being brought in here as a quarterback. Nick Underhill said it earlier that he's being brought in as a defensive back, but he was also trying out at wide receiver and a kick returner. Guys, the three of us know Sean Payton pretty well. Who among us cannot envision him just salivating over the prospect of using him on gadget plays on the offense or out of the backfield or halfback options kind of thing? And that's kind of where I see him fitting in.
I agree completely. My response, everybody that has texted me and reached out to me over the weekend saying, "Hey, what do you think of this guy?" My response has kind of been the same across the board. You give me a consistent 4.3 40 guy, I will find somewhere to put him.
You better believe it.
I will find a position for him to contribute to this team in. Because a 4.3 40 is something that is maybe even the advanced level of today's game. Let's say a 4.3 40 is maybe a 1 in 2 in 10 people. That's the kind of elite speed that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of details that need developed. So but I do know, as I think you just mentioned, Bob, at his pro day, or I'm not certain if it was the pro day or a combine, but they said that he did drills as a kick returner as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard as well. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen any film on the guy. And maybe I heard wrong or read wrong. I thought I read that they actually signed him to a 3-year contract. Now, obviously, none of us are going to know any details of that contract, but that certainly tells us that Peyton and the staff saw something when they tried him out, that they didn't want to let him get into the clutches of anybody else.
And if you think about it, what kind of athlete is he? He's got a 3-year deal to play in the NFL, and we 6 draft picks that don't even have that.
Yeah. Yeah, and like Alan said, what's that?
Not yet. I mean, their contracts will get signed soon, but
Yeah.
Well,
the lower round picks are 3-year contracts. The second round pick, I think, has a 4-year deal, and the first round pick has a 5-year deal. So, but your point is still valid.
Yeah, only so long you can use that argument.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like you said, Alan, they still run the triple option at Georgia Tech. To run that triple option attack on any level of football, one of your best athletes on the entire team is at that quarterback position, because there's just so much going on at such a fast level. The triple option obviously doesn't translate to the program, but the athletic ability will.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You look at a player like Javit Best, who played a brief time in for the Detroit Lions, and I believe he was one of the products of the triple option at Georgia Tech. I was just looking it up. I'm probably totally wrong. I just haven't gotten that far. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for for the backs and the quarterbacks to make it into the NFL unless they can translate those athletic skills somewhere else, especially on special teams, and where they can use that speed and so forth. So,
don't I remember correctly that Megatron came from Georgia Tech?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a different offense, totally different offensive design. Yeah,
I know.
You're talking.
I'm just trying to make sure that that wasn't a brain fart.
Yeah, yeah, different time era. You know, they've. Who is the coach at Georgia Tech?
Paul Johnson, is that? I want to say Paul Johnson. Is that his name?
Yeah, let me look up Georgia Tech real quick. I was Googling different information here, so I know what I'm saying. So I don't have people going, this guy's an idiot.
The last quarterback that I remember at Georgia Tech was Joe Hamilton.
And that's reaching back a while.
Yeah. Paul Johnson is the head coach. They play they still do the triple option. Paul Johnson has been there since. Come on, speed up. That's his record. I don't care about his record. He's been there since 2008. So, okay. And I want to say, wasn't Megatron a 2007 first round pick for the Lions?
Something like that.
Because I know back-to-back
years. It took receivers in the first round 3 straight years. Mike Williams, Megatron, and
Marius Thomas.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, this guy, Paul Johnson, he came from Navy, which runs the option.
Yeah.
And 2 stints with Navy. 95, 96 was the Navy offensive coordinator. And 2002, 2007, he was the head coach. Wow, he was at Hawaii. 87 to 94. Now Hawaii runs a run and shoot still. They're one of the last teams I think to still do it. But anyway, yeah. So Megatron would have been right before they went to triple option.
Let me ask you this, Bob. If you had to go through the list of what was it, like 12 UDFS that we got? You had to pick 5 that would make the final. I'm gonna change. Rather than making the final 53, we're gonna say if you pick 5 that make the training camp roster, who would you select?
My number one guy, cornerback out of Memphis. His name's actually been bouncing around quite a bit, and we released a piece on him yesterday, Canal Street Chronicles. But cornerback out of Memphis, Arthur Mollett. I tell you, watch game tape on him. The kid can play. He's small. His game is going to not translate very well to an outside press cornerback at all. But he has a real shot to be in the running for a nickel spot with this team. The cornerback spots with the Saints are pretty much going to be up for grabs after. Bro, Lattimore's their first-round draft choice, so he's locked in. Probably P.J. Williams. After that, Sterling Moore, you got to give probably the heads up. And then after him, it's gonna be a real battle for spots. And if you watch tape on Mollett, he has a great break on the ball. He's a feisty guy. He's an explosive leaper. He will challenge every single play. You fall in love with his game tape when you watch him. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him compete. After that, and I know we'll talk about Max Unger in a minute. But they have a center out of Southern Miss, Cameron Tom. Tom's kind of undersized, but he's got really quick feet. He's a very good technician, and he can he can move around well on the line. So with Unger missing some time here, Tom's going to get a real shot to show what he can do at the center position. After that, there's a linebacker out of BYU, Sai Tautu. I hope I pronounced his name right. Again, kind of undersized, but he's a north and south guy. He's very fast off of the edge. He can pursue sideline to sideline very well, and he's kind of a ball. He's around the football every single play. Those are my top three guys. The fourth, and I'll pause after I say his name for Alan to laugh a little bit. The wide receiver from Louisiana State University.
Oh, here we go.
I had to. Travin Durrell, honestly, if you ask me if he makes the team, the answer is going to be no. But the Saints have a proven hit.
We just lost the demographic.
That's my bad. Last time you had me on, it was for the outfit.
Yeah, the guy caught 2 passes for 28 yards last year. I mean, in an LSU offense that has no quarterback, and they're a lot like Georgia Tech, except they don't run the triple option. They just don't believe in throwing the football. It's just
look.
The guy needs work. He's a good practice squad candidate, but people who are already moving him up to the number 2 receiver, leapfrogging over Brandon Coleman and Willie Snead, just put the crack pipe down for a while and realize, take the Homer glasses off for a little while, and realize that this guy needs some work. Learning how to run routes, learning how to catch the ball cleanly, not using his body to catch the ball. There's a lot of development that needs to be made. Hey, by the way, while we were talking, while Bob was talking, I'm looking at alumni from Georgia Tech. Now, of course, the most famous Saints player to come out of Georgia Tech was Pat Swilling. But there were a couple other Saints players who showed up on here. Anthony Hargrove. Who finished his career basically with the Saints. Yeah, in the Super Bowl. He in fact was a Georgia Tech alum. And you were talking about receivers to come out of Georgia Tech after they ran the triple option. Demarius Thomas, who is a very good receiver for the Broncos, came out of Georgia Tech. Yeah. And I was wrong. It was not Javid Best who came from Georgia Tech. It was Jonathan Dwyer, who was a running back for the Steelers. Yeah. And but he also had concussion issues and forced him out of the league fairly quickly. Excuse me. But so Georgia Tech actually has been sending a lot of pros to the NFL. I'm looking at this list. It's pretty damn impressive. And Calvin Johnson did, in fact, come in 2007. So.
Well, the name that you mentioned on your UDFA list, I agree with most of them. And maybe I'm wrong in my placement here. One name I will add to that is the linebacker Adam Bighill. I still consider him an undrafted free agent. And when it comes to absolute pure desire, dedication, wanting it, so to speak, there's nobody. He'll take a back seat to no one when it comes to those things. I love the guy's motor. I love he's always coming. He's always sideline to sideline. He never stops. I really, really want to see this guy wearing black and gold. I really do. I hope I would add him to the list that you put forth a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I like Big Hill's game a lot. I agree with everything you just said. And the guy's just a football player. He might not have the best measurables in the world. He isn't going to blow you away in the 40 time. He isn't going to jump out of the gym, but he can play football. And the Saints need more guys like that. Every football team needs more guys like that. And Adam's a good guy to root for too. Like you said, I've read a lot of pieces on him. Yeah,
he has an incredible story. For anyone who isn't aware of that, go to YouTube and search story. He has a very, very incredible story to go with, go along with his journey, so to speak. Also, as of last Tuesday, Wednesday, so somewhere in there, uh, his better half, Miss Christina, gave birth to their daughter. We say congratulations to that.
Yeah, congratulations, Adam.
Absolutely.
Also, we're going to get into to a new thing that we're going to put you on the spot and try to divert the attention to the fact we want you to be embarrassed instead of us.
Me?
Wait a minute, I read that wrong. I'm sorry.
I would hope.
That note was supposed to be in private. I'm sorry. We're going to do a thing called 5 questions. And the answer is going to simply be a player, your instinctual, I guess you may could call it reflex action or reaction to, and I'm gonna let Alan participate in this with you as well. It can be a free agent acquisition. It can be an undrafted free agent. It can be a roster player. I just want to know your say what?
I was just going to say it's always a good idea to let Alan and I debate about players.
Oh, we don't have to worry about that guy. He's somewhere else now, so we're good with that one now.
Okay.
I just have to hear about it during the regular season because we'll bring Bob, of course, in during the regular season. He goes, oh, by the way, Riddick had 4 sacks, 3 pressures. You know, he'll have a stat sheet waiting for me every week.
I actually joke with my girlfriend Lauren. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
I know. Hey, you put your opinion out there, you're begging to be corrected. And, you know, if I'm wrong about the guy, well, I can't be wrong with about the guy because he is not on the Saints roster. So I have no idea whether he fit over here or not. I did say he was going to be a playmaker. So,
you know, I just want to point out that, I mean, something that you just made reference to, and a lot of people really understand or accept the dynamic that I'm about to talk about, but it comes to guys like Bob, Tyler Raymond, and all these guys that do this writing. They don't have houses in Hamptons. Bob does, but I mean,
well, his house is actually outside of Pittsburgh, so
well,
but still the same basic premise.
Right, IRS isn't supposed to know.
My point is, aren't doing this for the living they're making for doing. Takes, and I'm saying this particular part of it from personal experience. It takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there. You may not think it does till you have that first article out there that someone disagrees with, or that you have someone that vehemently, we'll use that word, that vehemently disagrees with your take on something and calls you everything under the sun except God's own son.
They accuse your parents of never been married.
Sure, I've had people insinuate that my family tree didn't fork. But
they accused me of being Oedipus.
My point is this.
Those occurring in literature books. Oedipus. Oh, that's nasty.
My point is this. It's a lot of guts to do what we do, what these guys do, what Alan and I do. We put ourselves out there. We have our opinions and them, but unlike a lot of these people that, for lack of a better way of putting it, hide behind a keyboard. Hey, we're here every week, and if you like us, great, rock. You don't like us, hey, that's great too. Show me where I'm wrong, and I'll tell you that I'm wrong. Otherwise, hey, uh, it takes a lot of guts.
I've been doing this a long time, not just sports, but politics and history and everything else. So believe me, I've been called things. I've had people call my apartment back when I was in college to challenge me on things. You kind of have to have the attitude of, hey, at least someone's reading it. You might piss them off,
Yeah.
and hey, I pissed off my wife. Back when I was in college, she'd read my columns. And go, this guy is a total jerk. I can't believe what he's been writing. I can't believe he just said that. So
how'd that turn out?
She ended up marrying me anyway. Hey, between that and I took her to the 1992 Saints-Eagles playoff game in the Superdome. And I was in the end zone, in the Lowe's level back then, but I was in the end zone where Bobby Abear gets sacked for the safety, where he throws the pick six to Eric Allen. The whole bit happened right in front of me, all in the fourth quarter, and she still stayed with me because that was the closest I ever came to taking another human being's life because I was so angry. I just needed an Eagles fan to talk shit to me. And you would have read about me. Saints fan goes berserk in the Superdome. Bludgeons the dude's head against the floor and kept calling him Bobby Abear the whole time he was doing it.
I've never had the blessing of actually getting. I want to say it was January the 6th or 7th. I had the opportunity to get to meet Alan for the first time, and that was absolutely one of the highlights of my trip that week.
I thought you were going to say of your life. I was like, oh my God, Sean, you need to get out more.
No, but one of my regrets of that trip was that I wasn't able to meet Miss Debbie.
Yeah, she wasn't up yet that early.
I've met Matt, and because of that, I pray for Miss Debbie every day.
She knows. She knows. I'm just insane.
She knew what she was getting into.
Yeah, because I made it up to her. She came with me to the NFC Championship game. I've told this story 100,000 times. I'll tell it again because it's just a good story. She came with me to the NFC Championship game, and in 2009, and she watched the entire fourth quarter. I kid you not, like this. She couldn't take it. She does not. And our daughter played basketball when she played at championship level. She won a state title and everything, but she can't take the tension of a close game where everything, every single play matters. So, it was just killing her inside, and I was standing up from the time it was 28 all in the fourth quarter, all the way till Tracy Porter's interception. I looked like you've seen NFL films of Sam Rutigliano, the old Cleveland Browns coach, from the Mistake by the Lake footage, when they had the Browns Raiders playoff game where Brian Sipe throws the interception in the end zone. But I had my hands on my knees. I'm standing up, kind of hunched over. I'm like going, come on. We got to make a play. One time, baby. One time. Somebody's got to make a play and stop this. Because it never occurred to me. And that's the funny thing. The whole time, and we're going way off topic here, but the whole time I'm at the NFC Championship game, it never even occurred to me that we were going to lose that game, or we had the possibility of losing that game. Because it was just like, this is inevitable. This is Brett Favre's retirement party. This is our time. We're going to win this game. We got this. We're going to the Super Bowl. It's just how we're going to do it, and every time the Saints took the lead, I'm like, okay, now here we go. We're going to start running up the score on this team. We're going to start making plays. And it never happened. So, my wife could feel that tension in the dome from that, and that was getting her. And so she has to watch it like this. And I'm just like, something's going to happen. Someone's going to make a play because they've done it all year. Someone is going to make a play. There's no way on earth we're going to lose this game. So, how can I say that as a lifelong Saints fan who have seen how we can lose football games, and yet to be so confident to go, there was just no way we're going to lose this game. That we did too much this season. We blew out too many teams to lose this game. We're going to the Super Bowl. It's just a given. So I saved that dejection for 2011.
Saints fans are so thankful for Cleveland Browns fans. And I love my buddy Jack Kapansky to death. I really do. I would consider him blood or not, I consider Jack my brother from another mother. But Saint fans absolutely thank God daily for Cleveland Browns fans, because it makes everything that we went through look like it wasn't just us.
And the sad part about it is really those 2 years, 86 and 87, the drive and then a fumble. Those were two of Cleveland's best teams since the Jim Brown era. And I definitely believe that had those Browns teams gone to the bowl, they would have put up a much better game than the Denver Broncos did against the Giants and the Redskins. You would have had much better game. Just like us and the Vikings instead of the Falcons going up against Denver in 98 would have been a much better Super Bowl. But that's why you play the game. But that was just something that never occurred to me. Hey, we kind of skipped over this, but I said this when the story came. We skipped over a lot. I know.
Yeah.
We still guess, don't we?
Yeah.
Sorry, Bob.
Well, we kind of skipped over the Unger injury, and I said this when I saw Ian Krapenport put the story out. Oh, Unger may not be available to him, early part of the regular season. I'm like, okay. So if we take the Ian Rapoport timeline of, back in 2015 when Drew Brees hurt his shoulder and his elbow and everything. Oh, Drew Brees is out for the year, serious injury. He may need surgery. He's back the next week. So I said, watch, Unger probably be back by the OTAs, which that didn't happen, but he did come. He is projected to come back sooner than Krapenport projected. They predict him to come back, I think, week 3 of the preseason, the third preseason game.
Yeah, he's projected, according to Sean Payton's, I want to say his media release this past weekend, said that he is expected back by week 3 of the preseason. Which
are you dipping? Are you dipping?
It's all your imagination.
Oh, dude.
Better than drinking.
I hear you.
Week 3 of the preseason, which I would probably translate as being more than likely him being held out of the entire preseason to be certain that he's good to go by week 1.
Yeah, and some people were asking, why is he waiting this long to have surgery? Why didn't he have the surgery? Because this is a foot injury that's carried over from last season. And I speculated that, and sure enough, that's exactly what Peyton said, and what the other reports are saying, that he tried to rehab it without surgery. And when you do something like that, and again, I can voice this from experience with both me and my own daughter, when you rehab something, you have to give it time to see if it has any kind of effect. And if you're not hitting certain benchmarks, then they go to surgery. So, I mean, this whole idea of, well, they waited too long, they could have taken care of this early. doctors and players don't want to get cut open from the outset. They want to try and see if they can fix this without surgery and let it heal on its own.
Well, and the
no, go ahead.
The foot is a pretty complicated body part anyway. And like you said, Alan, there's little doubt that Matt wanted to go through whatever avenues of rehab he could have possibly explored. That thing was injured most of last season too, and he played on a bum wheel. So like you were alluding to, Sean, when Coach Payton was saying that, Max will be available by week 3, I'd still be surprised to see him in the lineup before opening day.
It's one thing. I know we talk a lot about hoping the defense is better, but there's one thing that I would like to see happen this year versus previous years. I would like to see his entire offensive line, all 5 starters, start all 16 games like the Atlanta Falcons line did this past year. And I think if that happens, you're looking at a winning season regardless of what happens with the defense.
Absolutely.
Because, when we drafted Ryan Ramczyk in the first round this past year, I retweeted, I took a tweet and I posted it on Facebook, but I retweeted as well. The line that everyone wants the Dallas Cowboys offensive line, nobody wants to draft it. And my thing is, if this offensive line plays to its capabilities, you're looking at an offensive line nearly as good, or some may even say better than the Cowboys offensive line. I don't know if I want to go that far, but I think nearly as good. And I think Drew Brees is light years better quarterback than Dak Prescott. So if you have an offensive line that can protect Drew Brees for 3 to 5 seconds, that's just begging for a carving. I mean, Brees will carve up any defense, any secondary in the league with 3 to 5 seconds to scan over and make all his reads.
Sure.
And somebody said, well, I'll throw the last thing and then I'll let you go after this. But somebody said that Peterson and Mark Ingram can, if they stack the box to try and stop those guys, especially Peterson, if Peterson is 50 to 80% of what he once was, they're just going to dare Drew Brees to beat them with his arm. I'm like, oh my God, that would be the equivalent of discovering a new form of Viagra for Sean and Drew, because they'd be like, oh yeah, you see this play sheet? I just made this thing 5 times bigger because we got some pass plays we're going to run now. You're going to let Drew try and beat you? Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. We've participated in several, when I say we, I mean Alan and I, we've participated in several conversations over the past several days talking about the validity of who's going to make the bigger impact, Marshawn Lynch for the Raiders or Adrian Peterson, for the Saints. And as we were talking before the show went on tonight, I think you're comparing apples to oranges there. Marshawn Lynch is brought in to be the pitcher back for that Raiders offense. Adrian Peterson, at least initially, is being brought in to be a backup, if you want to call it that. You guys think back over the past couple of years, for lack of a better term to use, maybe the Hightower role. What Timmy Hightower did for this offense, that's what Adrian Peterson is brought in, the role he's being brought in to accommodate right now. Now, yep. 3 weeks into training camp, Mark Ingram breaks his leg. All bets are off, obviously. And don't do that.
Why do you want to say something like that?
Yeah, 3 weeks into training camp, people are going to be saying, "Oh, you son of a." Anyway,
hey, I'm going to be enjoying Joe Mixon putting Jeremy Hill out of a job over in Cincinnati, so that's okay. I just riled up all the LSU fans all over again, you know.
Yes, you did.
just making friends wherever you go.
Yeah. I almost typed in most annoying fan base LSU fans. They're and their entitlement mentality, but I got some. You know, we're gonna get some hate mail now.
So anyway, five
I'm just
questions.
messing with them all. I'm just
Much
messing
too
with them all.
early edition of 5 questions.
Yes.
After free agency, after the draft, is most likely to be facing extension on this roster. Extinction, excuse me.
I was torn on this one. One is an injury-prone linebacker who was probably maybe the team's defensive MVP last year when he was on the field. But I'm going to go with Stephon Anthony. They brought Mike. You're talking extinction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And
they brought Mike Nolan in to coach the linebackers. Mike Nolan is the linebacker whisperer. Stephon Anthony, number 1 draft choice in 2015. Athletic ability like crazy. Can hit like a ton of bricks. Led the team in tackles, but holes in his game. They moved him to the outside last year, and he was completely lost. It doesn't take anywhere near an expert to know that. I've been hearing that they're going to move him back to the middle, at least initially. That Nolan and the defensive staff is. This is his last chance. I've heard some mumblings that he might not even make the opening day roster. I'd find that far-fetched. But if he doesn't make it an exponential improvement off of even his rookie year and play recognition and things like that, if he doesn't start playing like a number 1 draft choice, this is his last chance. It certainly is a Saint. He's facing extinction.
That's something that you and I have agreed on for quite some time now. As a matter of fact, you and I have talked before when the announcement was made. They were bringing Nolan in as a linebackers coach. The first thing that I said was, "This is Stephon Anthony's last chance. If he doesn't make a go of it, he'll be gone. This is his last year to try to make this roster and make that number 1 draft pick." Alan, what do you think?
I'm not going to go that far out on a limb. Donnell, I thought for a minute he was going to say Donnell Ellaby, which is a possibility. Nolan said something very odd this past week about the Saints defense, saying they're a 3-4 defense, which isn't right at all because we've got we don't have a nose guard. We don't have outside linebackers. We have a ton of inside linebackers. So it's hard for me. We have some tweeners that could play out there in the 3-4 scheme, but we also have 3 safeties. So it was one of those things I was just like, I don't get it, what he's saying. But it does make sense if he thinks that his idea is to play with 2 inside linebackers and trying to find a role for Anthony. But that's going to be a discussion we'll probably have during training camp to see what kind of wrinkles they come up with. I think that they're just going to do a hybrid of 4-3, 3-4, and even a 3-3-3 kind of defense. We have, 3 defensive linemen, that elephant or a hybrid defensive end coming in that could play linebacker or defensive end, with either 2 or 3 linebackers, depending on how you count that guy on the end, and 3 safeties. So, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that one of the players I have facing extinction is P.J. Williams. Here's a guy that has missed all his rookie season, played about a game and a quarter of his second season, and I think if he gets injured this preseason, he's out. They've got too much competition now at the cornerback position, and I would not be surprised to see them bring in another veteran as well. So I would put PJ Williams as my player facing extinction, because that three safety look is going to be a big nickel look most of the time anyway. And you already got to look at Bro and Lattimore as being your 1-2 corners. So that third cornerback spot is going to be highly competitive. And Moore's going to have a leg up on most of them right now because he's the veteran. So, yeah, I have PJ Williams as possibly being the player to face extinction.
I agree with both of you guys, actually. The arguments that you guys have made for the players that you selected are far too compelling to even even try to challenge. So moving right along. See how I by that one. What player is primed for a breakout year this year? Alan?
Me first? Okay. Yeah. Alvin Kamara. Yeah, Alvin Kamara. This is going to be Sean Hayton's Mike Thomas plaything. He is going to put him all over the field. He's going to use him as a slot. He's going to use him to run the screen passes again. He's going to use him all over the place. And I just feel like that is going to be, if I was going to pick another fantasy player, because the Saints have traditionally been a horrible fantasy team unless it was Drew Brees, Marcus Colston early in his career, Jimmy Graham later on, and Michael Thomas this past year. Most of the time, he spread the ball around way too much, and too many different people took got different shots and had weeks where they were the ones that broke out. But I think Alvin Kamara is going to be the player this year, the running back that's going to have the biggest impact on this team.
Bob?
I'm going to go with Sheldon Rankins. I realized really well when he was in the lineup last year. He and Fairley teamed up to make arguably the best defensive tackle duo in the league. But remember, he played maybe 10 games. I'm thinking about 8. And I honestly, guys, I think he's just getting started. I think we've just seen the tip of the iceberg and what the guy can do. He looked like he showed the potential to be a dominant force at times. And this is a rookie that wasn't even playing from the beginning of the season. So he's had a full offseason now to digest the playbook a little bit. More importantly, to learn NFL offensive linemen. I think this guy's going to be an absolute monster this year. Rankins is my breakout.
I agree with that. Okay. I like that.
Excellent choices by both you guys. I'm going to go with number 13, Mr. Michael Thomas, in his first season as being the quote number 1 guy for Drew Brees. I think that Sean Payton and Drew Brees are going to find ways to capitalize on this young man's athletic ability. And I think that what you saw a year ago out of Michael Thomas is going to pale in comparison to what you may see coming this year. Question number 3. What one player, if looking at the roster as a whole and envisioning what you believe will be final 53, what's one player that you see that may be making that final run of their career? Bob?
That's a tough one. The easy answer would be Drew Brees, because he's pushing 40 years old. No matter how good a shape the guy is in, at the tail end of any NFL player's career. but I'm going to go back on defense. I'm going to go with Ellerby is going to be making his final run. Injuries have to be catching up with this guy. Um, he's played 15 as many as 15 games just one time in his career, and it was I think 2011 or 2012. 32 potential games in a Saint uniform. He's played in 16 of them, or something like about half. Um, this is his gonna be his final run. You know, the body has got to start to be breaking down. The linebackers, Alan, you mentioned a number of linebackers that the team has brought in, and you know the fact that they have Nate Stupar, Craig Robertson already here. I think they're going to limit Ellerby's snaps this year to make him more effective on the blitzes and certain coverage schemes that we saw him ineffective last year. So we're looking. I think we're going to see Donnell Ellerby as a part-time player and maybe more effective because of it. But he's, I think, 31 or 32 years old. He's in his final run.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson is 30 years old, 31 years old. No, 32. I'm sorry, 32. He hasn't played a full healthy season since 2014, I believe. 2014 was the last time he had a full season. I think he is committed mentally to play. I'm questioning whether his body can take the punishment. I have been telling people that expect about 10 touches a game. That's about it for him. And people have been freaking out over that. But if you take that over 16 games, that's 160 touches. I think Hightower had 133. So, unlike Hightower, I think the wear and tear, him having over 300 carries a season for as long as he's been playing, has just taken a physical toll on him. The question is going to be, let's see how he survives camp and preseason, because I'm going back to what was his name now? Great cornerback that got in 2015 or 2014. Everybody thought was going to be an impact corner because he was such a great player in Denver, and a foot injury came back and flared up on him, and he never was able to.
Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey. Everybody thought Champ Bailey had a chance to be the Champ Bailey they thought he once was, and once he actually got out there, he flew around like a maniac for about 2 days, and then on day 3 he got injured and he never played again. And I worry about that happening to Peterson. I know he's in much better shape than Bailey was, but man, he was such a physical runner, and that just takes a toll on your body. So Peterson's my player for that.
I'm going to go with someone else completely from you guys, and I very well could be base here with my assumption, but my last hurrah guy, so to speak, is going to be Zach Strief. Zach has been a stalwart and exemplary leadership guy for this team for a decade now. He and Jari Evans came to the league together. You want an insight to the kind of class guy that Zach Strief is? When they drafted Andrus Peat a few years back, someone asked Zach about the fact that he was basically training his replacement, and he said that's part of the business.
Yeah.
But all that being said, I think this is more likely going to be, and it's kind of a toss-up in my mind as far as whether this is going to be by necessity an injury, or if it's going to be reaching the point where you say, I'm done. I believe that this is going to more than likely be the last hoorah for Zach Strief, because the team has put the wheel in motion, so to speak. They've gone through the steps of in Ryan Ramsick, Andrus P. They've gone through the steps of bringing in guys that were going to replace him. So I really believe that his career is more than likely. That's just my opinion on that. And this question may be harder for Alan to.
Actually, I got a name. I do have a couple of names for you, so you can go ahead and ask me it, because that's something I was looking up.
Man, what is one? And go back, set the calendar back a year. Your undrafted free agent impact player for the season, and to give you somewhat an example as to the type of guy that I'm talking about, a year ago, undrafted free agent impact player would have been, at least for me, the number one impact guy of the UDFA's would have been Ken Crawley. And maybe the number two would have been your Tommy Lee Lewis. But the long and short of it, free agent player that stands to not only make the team, but make an impact on this roster and on the outcome of games. Alan?
It's going to be a long snapper. It could be either Chase Dominguez, or I just lost the other guy's name. But, we did not re-sign Justin Drescher. No. We have two undrafted free agents who are competing for the job as long snapper. And if you think about what was going on last year with the block kicks, what were some of the things people were saying? They were complaining about, the low trajectory of the kick. Yeah. They were complaining about the blocking on the kick because it looked like the right side of that line was caving in. We have one player. It's Jesse Schmidt is the other long snapper. But you also had the Denver game where the guy basically had the defensive lineman lay on top of our offensive line, so we couldn't pop up, and the guy leapfrogged over the long snapper. So I really think, and you think about the games that we lost 3 games due to special teams mistakes. A new long snapper is going to be a big deal. With a new special teams coach, hey, you're going to see a difference, good or bad. And if you want to see what would happen if you have a bad long snapper, go back to that San Francisco New York Giants game, the playoff game from, God, was it 2004, 2003? Might have been older than that. When that guy who was like 40 years old, 45 years old, was a long snapper forever and had a bad snap. His first bad snap in forever. So, yeah.
His name is Trey Junkin. He's a graduate of Louisiana Tech University.
Trey Junkin. And I'm probably way old. I'm probably it's probably even older than that. It was probably in the 90s. Trey Junkin had that issue. Let me see.
You just brought that because it was Louisiana Tech, not ULL.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, he's 56. He's 56 now. So, that was the NFC title game in 2003.
Trey Junkin was on the 1983 Los Angeles Raiders Super Bowl champion team.
Yes.
So, and it's funny how a career comes full circle.
The UDFA impact guy.
Arthur Millette. Hands down, really. I I was hoping to find a wide receiver or two that might stand out because certainly New Orleans, especially under Sean Payton, they he likes to bring in those undrafted guys. Nobody stood out to me. Like we said with Terrell, he might be a practice squad guy. Yeah, we did the article on Fullwood. I was looking at him for possibly a practice squad guy. Mollett is a guy that can make this team. Uh, Special teams, a gunner type, where he's going to blow up the coverage down the field. Like I said, I watched film on him. I love his leaping ability. He's a competitor. He challenges every play. You were talking about the competition for a slot corner spot, Alan. You know, outside, Bro and Lattimore are going to be the number one, number two guys. And outside of that, you put them in a blender and mix them around. PJ Williams was your guy on the fringe, but he could also come out of camp as the number three guy. Mollett is going to be every bit in the mix, and that's going to be the guy. I really like him right now.
Yeah, and, and I saw the pictures of it. The ladies apparently like him. He wanted to show off his guns.
Yeah.
This weekend had the sleeves all pulled up and showing off his arms and everything else like that. Yeah, well, whatever.
My UDFA impact guy, I'm gonna have to go with Bob here. I have done my due diligence, so to speak, on this undrafted free agent class the way that I have in recent years. I do see kind of a separation in terms of talent and ability when it comes to Mollett. So he's going to be my impact agent. Okay, getting away from individual players now, just kind of somewhat of a, and it's always fun when you start like in May now, as you progress through opening weekend, how the answer to this particular question seems to change somewhat as the closer it gets. And that being said, Alan, what will be the most important game of 2017 New Orleans Saints?
The quick answer is the first one, but I'm gonna say the first four.
Yeah.
If we start off 1-3 again, or start off 0-1 again, it's gonna be another 7-9 type of season. Because if you look at the track history of the Saints under Sean Payton, you know, when they start off 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, seasons like that, or come out of the first four games 3-1 or better, you know, you're looking at the 11-5, 10-6, 13-3 type seasons. Whenever they've started out 1-3, 0-4, whatever, you know, that's the 7-9 type of seasons. So yeah, you got to come out of the gate, and they put their four hardest games probably on the schedule the first 4 weeks of the season. And then you got that bye week right after the trip to London. So, you know, to me, all four are important, equally important. You've got to win them all. You or at least come out 3-1. You can't 2-2 is pushing it. I'd rather come out 3-1, but if you come out 1-3, the season's already tanked and you're not even in October yet.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree with you. And kind of to piggyback off what you said, you know, if they go 2-2 into that bye, there's all kinds of different 2-2s. If those two losses due to the competition, if they played well, you can see them springboarding towards a good finish. If I had to pick one game, I'm gonna go with week 2, New England Patriots, right? Brandon Cooks and his pacifier, the first home game for the team, because they open up on the road, if I'm not mistaken, in Minneapolis.
They do.
Opening up on the road in prime time is tough. It's a winnable game for them, but it's tough. coming into week 2, you're facing the Super Bowl champions at home. That's a must-win game, regardless of whether they open up 1-0. It puts up high stakes against high caliber competition. But if I had to pinpoint one single important game, that's the one, week 2 against New England.
Yeah, and it's much better going at that game 1-0 than 0-1.
Yeah.
For me, the most important game and it's progressive, so to speak. The most important game of the 2017 season is whichever one is next. And by that I mean, you look back historically at where teams that win opening weekend, alluded to this a little while ago. You look back historically, teams that began the season with opening day win have wound up, and if I'm not mistaken, every time that the Saints have won on opening, wound in the playoffs. I won't raise my hand, and I think that's pretty close to accurate, maybe with a variable of 1 or 2 maybe years. But that being said, the most important game is the next one up for the New Orleans Saints. They have got to handle business on a week by week by week status. The most important game right now for the New Orleans Saints is that Monday night football game in the Minnesota stadium. Got to come out of that, and make no mistake about it, it's not about Adrian Peterson. It's not about him going back to where he used to be the man. Nothing to do with that. At this point, it's about the New Orleans Saints covering their business, going to week 2. Bob alluded to, you're facing the defending world champions at home in your own yard. That's in and of itself a whole different thing. But each week, up the stakes, and get better each time. And that's something that over the past years or so, this team has not done. The team that you saw coming out on opening weekend is the same team that you saw on week 8, halfway through the season, performing. You're not getting any improvement whatsoever in this facet of the game, that facet of the game. Much better results, and that's just not going to work. The team has to improve week by week.
Yep. Well said.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. I totally agree.
Week.
Okay. So. Oh. Okay. Okay. So that I'm trying to make sure we checked off everything off the list. We actually got through the whole thing. That's going to be pretty much a wrap on our show tonight. We're only 20 minutes over, which isn't too bad considering all the stuff we talked about. We're hitting really. Yeah, well, we're really hitting the dead part of the season where we're gonna have to struggle to find topics to talk about. We'll probably focus some more on some of the undrafted free agents because, the OTAs I think start up next week.
I think so. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, either next week or the first week of June. But they have a full mini camp, and that's going to be the one that's actually open to the public to see. It'll be the first look at the modern Saints. The player numbers came
Hey,
out,
Alan,
and yeah,
before you get at there, I'm remiss. I apologize. Once again, we thank the Future Stars League and God Hands University for listing us as a title sponsor for their yearly event. I wanted to announce that on June 17th at Louisiana College in Pineville, they're going to have the All-Star game between Louisiana and Mississippi. The team Future Stars League and team God Hands University will square off at Louisiana College. If you go on our Facebook page, they have all these really cool shirts that they're selling and so on and so forth. But I wanted to details to you guys on Friday night, which will be the 16th. They will have a big banquet at the hotel, which is the Best Western. We'll list those details on our Facebook page. They'll have the banquet, both teams, and on the 17th at 6 p.m. at Louisiana College, they will be teeing it up once again. Louisiana All Stars versus Mississippi All Stars, and we're proud to be a sponsor of this event. I apologize. I was supposed to have made that announcement at the beginning, and we got sidetracked.
absolutely.
Imagine that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what this whole show is. It's called the sidetrack. Okay. Well, once again, Bob, we appreciate your expertise. Tell everybody how they can follow you on the internet that internet thing. How we can find you and follow you.
That internet thing. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Sean, for having me on the show again. It's always a pleasure, an honor, and entertaining as heck. But thank you, everybody, for watching again, and please continue to stay tuned. These are great guys to work with, great guys to chat with. The show is awesome. But you can follow my work on Twitter at Bobby R 2613. My work is also on Facebook. And like we said earlier, I work through Canal Street Chronicles. They have a Facebook page as well, and you can follow their work and all of their other fine writers and my terrific boss, John Hendricks, at Saints CSC. So check us out. We have a lot of exciting things. We're going to start to do player profiles on second-year players, people like Ken Crawley, Landon Turner, and what kind of impact that they're going to make as well. Because these are some exciting players to keep an eye on as well. And thank you guys again for having me on. Love you both.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate you being on the show.
Bob,
all right, boys and girls.
Bob, you are absolutely a diamond in the rough. And by the way, I want to wish the best not only for you but for Miss Lauren as well. When's the due date?
Lauren Davenport and myself are expecting a little baby boy, July 17th. William Anthony Rose.
We know she's doing all the work, and you're just kind of riding her coattails on this.
I really am.
Yeah, I know. I'm speaking that from personal experience. The women do all the work. We just kind of smoke cigars and pretend like we had some sort of involvement in the process. We want to tell you from all of us here, we congratulate you guys on the addition to your family, and wish nothing but the best for you guys.
Thank you. It means a lot
Absolutely,
to both of us.
Yeah, well, of course you're going to say the men have the easy ride. That's what happens when a woman takes something seriously. It was poked at her in fun. Anyway. I'm waiting to see. I'm watching Sean's reaction to see how he reacts to these lines.
I can see the police report now. Alan made a joke. Not paid for it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
thank you so much for being on with us, man. It's always a pleasure, and you are about as close as it comes to being a member of the family when it comes to the Under the podcast, and we wouldn't want it any other way.
I love being the and in the family too.
There you go. Okay. Well, once again, we thank you, Bob, for being on the show. We thank all you guys for watching us and putting up with all our shenanigans and listening to my horrible jokes and lines and comments. Join us next week where we will talk more Saint stuff. Who knows what kind of news will be out there. But we're going to try and talk a little bit more, probably go position by position with some of the new players, try and get a profile on not only the undrafted free agents, but also the rookies. We really haven't gone into the expectations we have and predictions for our new lineup, how much these new players and rookies may fit in, how many of these free agents we signed, what kind of impact will they have? Will they have any kind of impact? Then there's also the quandary at left defensive end. Who is going to be the starter? So lots to talk about in the next month and a half before training camp starts up. Sean, it's almost 9:30. You know they're going to cut us off soon. Any last words?
I gave my best for my country.
There we go. And on that note, thank you guys for joining us. Good night. We'll see you next Tuesday night on Under the Dome.